Hello everybody, I'm TychoCelchuuu and welcome to a Company of Heroes 2 Shoutcast. This is the beta of Company of Heroes 2. It's the open beta, so you can play it right now. And this replay was generously provided by which I mean I stole it from companyofheroes2.org, COH2.org, the #1 fan site for Company of Heroes 2 shit all on the internet. We have Seb playing as the Russians versus ABiggerBlackerSwastika, something I think we could all use in our lives, playing as the Oster, also known as the Germans, Oster being a word Relic may have made up for this video game, but I don't know. If you don't know what the fuck is going on in Company of Heroes 2, either because you never played the original or you played the original but you don't know what's up in the new one, you can go watch my previous video where I'm like, hey, what's up in the game? But this is going to be a straight up shoutcast. We're going to talk about the video game, just the video game, just like in the old days. We have a 2 Pioneer opening for the Oster, and it looks like the second Pioneer building the infantry company. You want to get the first one out here ASAP, if only to cap this strategic point. Not sure quite what's so important about this strategic point. Is not linking anything important. Typically, you see players want to rush for the fuel. This is what Seb is doing. Seb, you may remember from the original Company of Heroes days. He's a pretty cool dude, and you know he's a cool dude because he's got his infantry right on the edge of this fuel point. Perhaps ready to run to this strategic, nope, just kidding. Yep, running up to that victory point or up to this. Yeah, I called it over there because Seb is good and he's positioning people right where they need to be because you now have leeway around these points. So if you're elite micromaster, what you want to do is, for example, these people were capturing this after that, so they could have run down into the bottom. So you can now choose where to position and also get them into cover and stuff. So that's a good tip. So it's weird that the Wehrmacht has not gone for the fuel right off the bat. Usually that's what you see players wanting to do. You want to get your fuel as safe as possible. This is what Seb did. And then the next thing you want to do is focus on cutting off your opponent's fuel. So it looks like Seb's going to set up here, camp out at this victory point, because this is a great victory point to camp out at, because once you're done fighting over this, you can just run here or here and cut off your opponent's fuel down in the south. So that's a great place to go. Seb going for the ever-popular conscript spam. We're seeing 3 conscripts out of him and just his starting combat engineer squad. Of course, Russians get conscripts out of the tier 0, so they don't have to build any buildings, whereas the Wehrmacht do have to go up to tier 1 to get their grenadiers out and their machine gun out. So that's going to be pretty obvious choice for every Wehrmacht player. I don't think we're going to be seeing Pioneer spam in this game, although you never know. Right now I'm predicting Pio spam in the original Company Heroes. So we see our first engagement of the match. Seb's conscripts running right into the open across this red cover. They're doing the old switcheroo with his enemy grenadiers. I'm not sure quite what both players were planning on. Seb is going to see this machine gun setting up and is going to start shooting his infantry. So he's going to be able to get the flank up. Uses an URA, 5 munitions to get these conscripts into position. Definitely worth it if you can force this machine gun off. German player is forced to play catch up with his grenadiers and his pioneers. Is he going to make it there in time? Notice how much damage these conscripts are taking even behind green cover. Wow, Seb quick tech to the Molotov cocktails and runs straight into those flames. He's just tank the fire, tank the flames, and pays for it with this guy. Look at him. He did a nice little dance before he died. I'm not sure why units dance when they catch on fire. It seems like my last act in life is going to be hopefully something more impressive than dancing myself to death, but that's all right. Seb does force off that MG42. Big push, or big loss for the Germans right there. You don't want your MG42 being forced off. Seb using another Molotov does force the opponent to reposition, not really buying Seb anything. He loses another man to the dance of death, and that's kind of unfortunate. Seb maybe not doing the best with his Molotovs. So now the Pioneers run straight into it, and it looks like it's burning the truck too, so this is just a clusterfuck. Germans, I think, play that one out a little bit better. Seb spent too much time dancing. I'm not 100% sure of the stats. I think the way it works out is you still want your grenadiers to be sort of like the Volksgrenadiers in the original Company of Heroes, the one sort of standing, and you want to close the distance with your conscripts. Look at him! I know the ice and stuff is crazy, but I didn't know you could ice skate like this. That is some new shit. This is impressive. Look at that. He's just aiming like a motherfucker the entire time. Wow, that's impressive. You can do that in Red Orchestra too, actually. That's one of the reasons I don't like that game. You can't skate, but you can aim like a motherfucker all the time. So we got quick tier 2 by the Germans, not surprising. Quick teching is very popular in Company of Heroes 2 because it's your only fucking option. You can't dump your fuel into veterancy like you could in the original Company of Heroes, and the Soviets can't dump it into bars or, well, actually no, I'm just joking about the Soviets. I guess you can buy Molotovs and AT grenades, but certainly not as much fuel to dump into that stuff. Anyways, everybody quick techs now because that's the only option. And Seb got a very good early victory forcing off that machine gun, because once you force the German machine gun off, that's just a lot of time lost for them, and they're going to have to find a new position to set it up at. What you want as Germans is to make your machine gun 42 as effective as possible, and especially in the very early game, if you can force a good retreat, catch 1 or 2 opponent squads in the arc of that machine gun, and they get pinned, they have to retreat, and that's a lot of time lost for your opponent that they want to be capping, that they want to be out doing other stuff. So I think Seb plays this pretty well, forcing the Germans off, and he also played it pretty well, getting that one conscript squad out of there. And I guess he bought healing, right? Yeah, he must have bought healing. These 3 ladies hanging out. Hey, ladies, the first women in Company of Heroes 2, so I'm glad there's finally women. They also have female IL-2 pilots and female tanks. Well, the tanks themselves, I suppose, are not women. It's the people inside the tanks, but let's not quibble about stuff here. Big mistake, I think, trying to get these pioneers into the buildings for cover. That may have worked in an alternate universe where this machine gun was able to suppress all 3 of these, or these guys showed up early enough. Instead, the opponent just lost them all before they got even into cover. He might be able to make up for a bit. No, he's actually being burned. This machine gun plus his half-track are not going to be able to kill these conscripts. Seb could have probably even stuck around, but the Molotovs are just too wimpy. That's weird. They don't seem to do damage over time so much as it just seems to crit every once in a while and kill somebody. So that's an interesting fact about Molotovs. Time to learn. Oof, is this opponent going to lose a Pioneer too? Oh, takes out a Pioneer squad. Oh man, for those keeping track at home, he's lost 2 Pioneer squads, and that's really bad. Seb has a commanding lead in this game, has most of the map captured. He's got the VP lead, opponent down to 400, Seb's still at 500. And Quick Teching has not bought this guy anything yet, wasn't able to use his half-track to reinforce out in the field. Can you reinforce out in the field by half-tracks? I haven't even tried. Here's a secret. Oh shit, it's a Flammenwerfer now. Here's a secret. Don't tell anybody, because I'm going to lose all my shoutcasting cred. But I've only played German once, ever, in Company of Heroes 2, like the entire time. Bam! Suck on an AT grenade, just kidding, you're a double flamethrower dragon. You're killing all these guys. So I don't know what the fuck is going on with Germans, basically. That's a bit of an exaggeration, I sort of know. That's interesting. Can he get a... I guess Seb can throw a thing over this thing, because they can sort of see through the bushes. I don't know. True Sight is very different. True Sight does not work so great, I have to say. I mean, it works, the basics work pretty great. Like, yeah, if there's your guy here and there's a guy here, they can't see each other. Okay, I can figure that out with True Sight. But, like, can you see through these hedges with True Sight? I don't know. Can you see through this stuff with True Sight? I don't know. Can you see through this fence with True Sight? In real life, you certainly can. In Company of Heroes 2, I think you probably can. I don't know, maybe it just takes getting used to it. But now we have a blizzard coming, which is, people tend to say that the blizzards are going to be helpful for whoever's on the defensive. What does the show taskbar button do? Okay, I could have guessed that. People tend to say that blizzards are good for people on the defensive because they can just hunker down in the snow. I totally disagree. I think blizzards are much more help for the person on the offense. Look at this 3D wire. Blocking Seb from... So it's actually not blocking Seb. You can jump over these fences now. You see my little cursor change to a weird arrow. You can jump over these fences, but you have to micro it. Your units aren't going to do it automatically. So people say blizzards are better on the defense. I totally disagree for 2 reasons. Number 1, blizzards cut your sight range way down. Look at this fog of war. These guys cannot see jack shit. If there's an enemy right here, they wouldn't know. So with these tiny sight ranges, it makes it much easier to flank defensive positions and get into position for flanking assaults. Attacking into a blizzard, especially if you know where your opponent is, which chances are if they're hunkered down in defensive positions, you do know where they are. Attacking into a blizzard is a lot easier. The second reason I don't think blizzards are automatically better for defenders is because it makes it really hard to reposition units, or not really hard, but it's at least harder to reposition units than it is outside of a blizzard for 2 reasons. Number 1, they're potentially going to freeze to death. That's actually not much of a worry. There's typically enough fire around that you're not going to freeze to death. But it just makes it more annoying because they're slower, and you have to at least micro them into a position where they're going to end up not freezing to death. So we see Seb trying to pull this flank off, but he might start using some lures to the cold. We got fights everywhere, actually. Grenadiers down here dodging a Molotov. Conscripts down here probably going to be fine. It's this fight we want to watch with machine gun setting up. I think Seb's going to get the flank off. He's taking the cold damage, but he don't give a shit. Seb don't give a shit about the cold. Wow, gets this Grenadier squad down to 1 man. So looks like the Germans are fucked over here. And Seb's even going to get this squad into the fire. This one does lose a man from the cold, and this retreat is painful. There's another bad reason to be a defender during a blizzard. If your opponent pushes up and gets the attack going and you retreat, chances are they're going to keep being able to keep push the blitzkrieg and chase you down easier. So we do have an interesting cutoff affected by the Germans. He loaded some people up and moved in. There's another thing during the attack. If you cut someone off during a blizzard as an attacker, it's going to be more annoying for them to restore that cutoff. Although we see Seb doing the craziest restoring of the cutoff that he possibly can on this stupid little map. I don't like the maps in Company Heroes 2, by the way. They're way too small, not enough territories. If you cut someone off during a blizzard as an attacker, it's going to be pretty annoying for them to reestablish that as a defender. So I think blizzards tend to favor attackers, more or less. It's not like there's no benefits for the defenders, obviously. It's more annoying for the attacker to move out of their base and just get around places. But aside from being slow, which I think also hurts the defender, I think really it's better to be an attacker. Or when I need to take the map, I thank my lucky stars for Blizzard, because I feel like I'm going to be able to take the map under the cover of snow, and I'll be able to sneak up on any defensive positions we have. So this Flammenwerfer half-track has won the star of veterancy with 19 infantry kills, showing us the ridiculous way veterancy works in this video game. Kills a conscript squad. There we go, Dance of Death. Look at him do the hokey pokey. Turn yourself about. That's what it's all about. Ridiculous way veterancy works in Company of Heroes. Getting kills is not worth jack shit. These guys have 6 kills, they have a star. These guys have 7 kills, they have a star. These guys have 6 kills, they have a star. This dude's got 20 kills. Well, now he's got 2 stars, so I guess I'm a big fat liar who doesn't know what he's talking about. But basically, it's much better to earn veterancy by getting shot at if your goal is to get veterancy, because that just gives you a shit ton of veterancy. These guys have 5 kills and they got a star. Look at that. They give stars just for showing up to work, as long as work is fucking full of bullets. So Wehrmacht seems to have jumped the gun with this AT gun. Seb only at tier 2 right now, skip tier 1. Tier 2 is where you get your machine gun, your mortar, and your AT gun. You see, I only play Russians. They're the only ones I know. Where you get that stuff. So Seb, rightfully good, I think, going for an AT gun. Oh man, look at that. So this is good shit. They've been listening to some feedback. It used to be basically impossible to tell when anybody was repairing anything, but now it's like the 4th of July. It's just blue everywhere. It's basically, it's Tron plus the 4th of July when you're repairing stuff, which I think is a huge improvement. Realism. Be damned if this were realistic, you would not be breaking out your welders in the middle of a battlefield to, like, draw your name here, like Fritz was here. Nope. Also, that guy's welding that guy, so that's impressive. But look at that. Oh, man, it's a light show. I love it. Trip the light, fantastic. Oh, man, I'm tripping balls. LSD. Okay. You can probably hear my keyboard. I have a pretty sweet microphone now, and it picks up everything. But you can't hear me jacking off. Because I'm not. Or am I? So we have a mortar, interestingly, by Seb. The opponent has not really shown... Okay, you have idle Panzer Grenadiers, which is how we know this guy is not so great. The opponent has not really shown a predilection for setting up machine guns and camping and stuff. He's playing a fairly mobile kind of German force with these vehicles. So I'm not sure... What did you get veterancy for? I don't know. So actually, Seb is going to be able to shell his house. What's different in Company of Heroes 2 is houses take a shit ton of damage from stuff now. This mortar might collapse his house pretty soon. But it's interesting that Seb went for a mortar because, like I said, yeah, look at that. That house was at like 1/3 health. It's gone. The machine gun's dead. Don't make this mistake. Please, guys, when you're playing Company of Heroes 2, these houses are made out of balsa wood, okay? It's not like Company of Heroes, the original, where you were in sort of Western Europe. Everyone built things out of like stone. Things existed for 600 years. We're in Russia. Things are made out of like nothing. Okay, it just collapses instantly when someone shells it. So he just lost a machine gun for his effort. And also Seb's gonna get really lucky because this AT gun was built for God knows whatever reason. It killed an infantry, but so that's gonna be mortar bait too. But so interesting that Seb went for a mortar, because you would have thought with this half track and this armored car running around, he would have gone for maybe a second AT gun, or just not dump the stuff into a mortar, because it's not like his opponent's been camping so much. But mortars are still good in this game. They're good for pushing people off. More powerful than the original Company of Heroes, I still think. They used to be ridiculous. They got nerfed, so that's good. We have a combat engineer squad up here roasting, so oof. Is he gonna lose the squad? Is he gonna lose this squad? Are you gonna die? Are you gonna die? You're dead. The end. And meanwhile, back in the middle where the German player is paying attention, nothing's happening. He's trying to set up some sort of attack on this thing. I'm not sure what's wrong with Panzer Grenadiers. Please don't just charge in with Panzer Grenadiers when you have nothing to support them except these things are getting killed. So Seb gets a nice kill with the ZIS-2, no vacancy, of course, and still has not chosen, or the German still has not chosen a doctrine. Seb might be up shit creek right now, except, nope, just kidding, he went T-34s, so there we go. Has he killed the Pack? Nope. The Pack 40 is still around, so he's got to be very careful with his T-34. T-34 is very weak, all things considered, as far as tanks go. But they're pretty great. All he needs to do is just micro so that the Pack can't hit him. Is he gonna... He does not see the Pack and takes one shot, is going to micro the tank away. Hey, it's a woman. Hear that? Listen, I'm clicking. Yeah, good shit. Okay, would not have bought a T-70 if I were Seb. T-70s are bad. I hope this Pack 40 shoots the T-70 because then you'll get to see how bad a T-70 is. The interesting thing about the T-70, once they get Vet 1, what does this do? Tank commander sets up a turret and surveys the area. Interesting. Once they get Vet 1, they unlock this thing, which turns the gun off and allows them to capture points. So that's a bizarre ability, but it's like pretty sweet for a T-70 because they're fast. Pretty sweet for a T-34 is what I think. You just send the T-34 like behind enemy lines, crush a shit ton of infantry, and be like, motherfucker, now I'm gonna capture points. I think he lost a squad here. Because I don't see anything retreating and I see a dead guy. So, Seb, unit preservation could use some work. Enemy unit preservation could use some work. Everybody's playing crazily. This is the beta. Nobody knows what they're doing. We can give them some leeway, I think. And obviously they're both probably better than me, so I should not be talking. I honestly have no idea how good I am at this game, because for the past few weeks, or past week or so, it's just been matching me up against people who cannot play. The game is not getting the message that I need, like, people who can crush me. It's just like, hey, let's put Tycho up against people who he destroys. I've never come close to losing a match since the last couple of patches. Okay, can the T-70 crush people? Because that would actually make the T-70 worth something. I don't know. Like I say, I only play Russian, so I should know, but I've never bought a T-70 because they say they're bad. Someday we'll see how they're bad. But we're not yet. The Germans are moving this Pack 40 up. They're just going to be assaulted by these infantry, and I guess you can cap this point. Nope, the Pack 40 crew do count as infantry in terms of, look at that, they're dead. Okay, so T-70 is actually making me look like a liar, although it only has 2 kills, so it's not so great. The reason this Pack 40 was briefly not stopping Seb from capturing this point was because this guy on the right was dead and the other 2 crewmen were outside, so that's funny. How's Seb doing? What do we got? Well, so we have tier 4 engine hit. I don't know, something hurt the T-34. We have tier 4 and tier 2 up from Seb. Yeah, tier 1, 2, 3. Wait. Oh, T-34's come out from tier 3. I knew that. Okay, well, whatever it is. Oh, this is the thing that got the engine hit. I don't know, what did that do? It either ran over a fire, or I think they fixed that, though, so I don't know. Seb has now chosen a doctrine, and interesting, he's gone for the shock troops. This thing. It's the one with the IS-2 at the end. This is kind of fun because you get shock troops and their columns now, so that's good. And you get to camouflage your AT guns, and incendiary barrage is nice to have. KV-8, I don't know. IS-2, I don't know. I always just go the thing that lets me hit the dirt because that's the only strategy I know in this game. I'm not so good. Now we have a Stug 3. I've been seeing people on the forums complain about the Stug 3. By the forums, I mean CompleteHeroes2.org forums. Complain about the Stug 3 versus the T-34. Oh, look, it doesn't damage the engine when you run over fire anymore. So I guess something must have shot this T-70. Buys another Pack 40. Interesting. So here we get to test my, is it better to be attacking or defending in the snow? This is actually a weird thing because the German player did a very bad thing and sent his tank in first before scouting. Had he scouted first, he may have found this AT gun. This is going to be a big battle. Look at this. You're not going to be able to see a goddamn thing because it's the blizzard. What can Seb see? Seb can see these people, so his AT gun's going to keep firing. German's probably just going to be too afraid to move in on this in the first place. What the fuck is killing these infantry? Did they run over a mine, or was it the Stug? Stug's only got 1 infantry kill, so I don't know. Maybe it's just a mixture of things. Maybe the Pack got a kill? I don't know. Tough to tell. It's very difficult to tell what is shooting at what, by the way, in CompleteHeroes 2. Stug is dead already. Okay, so Stug is not overpowered there. Finished. Done. Look at this thing. This is the hero Flammenwerfer. It's just gonna get owned in the face by these T-34s, though. Look at this. It's gonna decrease the AT gun, though. That's gonna get rid of the defensive. That's great. I think... Wow, lost a Pioneer squad here. So, bad attack by the Germans. Could maybe have gone in with his infantry first, except he's spec'd his infantry for largely anti-tank. He's put 2 Panzerschrecks on his Panzer Grenadiers, so now they're much worse against the infantry. And doesn't really have much else in the way of infantry. He had that 1 Pio squad, maybe another Pio squad, I don't know. But those just got killed in the middle. Needed to be more of a concerted push, I think, from the Germans for things to go. Okay, so T-70's down at 1/3 health after 1 Panzerschreck shot. Here comes another Panzerschreck shot that misses. Here comes another Panzerschreck shot. T-70's down to like 1/4 health. And so for those keeping the score at home, that's 2 Panzerschreck shots. This is... that's 3 Panzerschreck shots to kill. making this about as weak as an unupskirted M8. Basically, so that's why I don't like T-70s. I've seen them one-shotted by Pak-40s before. Those things are weak, 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 weak. You have to treat them like an M8, but with no top gunner, and you have to get Vet 1 for raid, but I guess that's fine. So, mistakes this German players made too early with the AT, and then too late with the effective AT. He went too early with the AT, we saw him pop the Pak-40, and then Panzerschreck's really not doing anything. I didn't know the Germans... Oh yeah, the Germans get medics at this bunker, which he built in his base. Kind of sucks that you have to build a bunker in your base, Germans, for medics, doesn't it? Doesn't it suck? Yeah, it sucks. Sucks for you. That's why I play Russian. No, I like everybody, but there's no random button when you auto-match. Please add a random button, Relic, so that I can play the correct way instead of always as Russians. Ooh. T-34 hit on the front by this Panzerschreck, so you see how damaging. So, a German player, mistake getting too early with the Pak-40, and then what is... Oh, this is the... too early with Pak-40. Look at those Panzerschrecks showing up to T-34. I told you they were weak armor. Too early with the Pak-40. Too early with the Panzerschrecks, or maybe just a bad move with the Panzerschrecks. He just didn't have the anti-infantry by the time he had transitioned into anti-tank, and he just didn't have the anti-tank at the point he needed it. He got it too early, so he didn't need that. In terms of Seb, great job on map control. He was briefly cut off at one point, but he reestablished the cutoff, and in general, Seb's just been doing very good about capturing the map. Bad job on unit preservation for the Germans, probably hurting him quite a lot when it comes to capturing the map. And in terms of Seb, one of the only criticisms I can think of is maybe the mortar not the best idea. It's gotten 6 kills. So that's kind of cool. It's tough to know how much damage the mortar's been doing. Against the Pak-40s, it's great. Against anything else, you might wonder, maybe he would have been better off with anything. Well, when you have... So here's the thing. When you build this thing, you can get the machine gun, the mortar, or the AT gun. He needs the AT gun, right? The AT gun's great anti-tank for the Russians. That plus the grenades from your conscripts, the anti-tank grenades, is basically all you need until you can get to spam T-34s. So... Seb needs this support company, support weapon Kompanija. As far as I know, Kompanija is not a Russian word. It's just something Relic made up to be slightly racist. And so once you've got this, you've got the AT gun. And now you're like, well, what else am I going to do? Am I going to build a mortar? Am I going to build a machine gun? No, I'm not going to build a machine gun. The machine gun is shit. So, look, I'll build a mortar. And to be honest, it's not a horrible way to spend 240 manpower, especially once you're set up in the main country. And here's the IS-2. Joseph Stalin 2 heavy tank. So, not the worst thing to build, but, I don't know. I'm always like, just build more conscripts, right? For 240 manpower, you can build a conscript squad. And that's probably going to do you about as good in terms of stopping the enemies and how you can use it to recruit the Pak-40. So, play back over, opponent killed. VPs get down to 12, and then I guess the opponent quit. So that was a good game. I hope you enjoyed it. Seb sort of dominated because he's Seb. And so unit preservation, important. Buying a mortar, I don't know. Get your AT out when it's appropriate, but not when it isn't appropriate. And really, I think that was the biggest issue for the opponent. By the time his AT meant anything, he had lost out on anti-infantry killing power. All his sort of light vehicles got shredded by Seb, and that was a very, very bad attack here in the middle where the opponent lost everything. So that plus the unit preservation is, I think, what cost the Germans the game, and I hope you enjoyed this Shoutcast and Company Heroes 2. Remember, it's a beta, everything's subject to change. Relic's probably going to break some stuff in the future, so I will see you in auto match if you suck. If you don't suck, it's never going to match me again. So, sorry.